Good morning and welcome back to the podcast, Evil Dungeon Master Universe podcast. I'm your host, Evil Dungeon Master Vince, and today is Wednesday. We're middle of the week, a new show, and today we're going to talk a little bit about something. First, go to theevildm.com where you can go to my website and see all the things that I'm doing as far as YouTube, podcasting, and various write-ups for games like Mini 6. I'm having a good time doing those exercises, so why not check them out? I just put up one today for a detective noir character for Mini 6. I had a lot of fun doing that this morning. So hopefully you will enjoy that, just giving it a good read. Today's topic is going to be talking about ghosts. And ghosts in your campaign. So I'm more familiar with AD&D 1E because that's my always go-to game for D&D. So I was looking at that this morning. I also popped over to look at the D&D Beyond 5e Ghost as well, just to see what the differences were and how they changed over the years. It's a little bit different, but we'll talk about the 1E Ghost because that's what's really important here. So let's take a look now. I'm flipping over to the Monster Manual and heading to page 43 of the Monster Manual, the original Monster Manual for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. We get a ghost. Now, they have an armor class of 0. Because they are on a different plane, you only see a manifestation of the ghost from the other plane. So their armor class is pretty much 0, and you can't hit it by any normal means. The only way you can hit a ghost is by magic attacks or magical weapons of some sort to affect the ghost. So, according to the book, ghosts are an evil spirit of humans who were so awful in their in their badness, that they have been rewarded or perhaps cursed by given the undead status. Thus, they roam about at night and in places of darkness. These spirits hate goodness in life, hungering to draw the living essences from humans. As ghosts are non-corporeal or ethereal, they are usually encountered by creatures in a like state, although they can be seen by non-ethereal creatures. The supernatural power of the ghost is such, however, that the mere sight of one causes a human to be aged 10 years and flee in panic for 2d6 turns. Turns, not rounds, turns, so that's minutes. Unless a saving throw versus magic is made. A cleric who is above 6th level are immune to these effects, and all other humanoids above 8th level add a plus to their saving throw. I would think that a paladin, no, not a paladin. Was it a paladin or was it a cavalier? One of them they are immune to fear. So I'm thinking one of those two classes would absolutely not be affected by the fear factor of a ghost, or at least give them a massive bonus to it because they have that non-fear factor going on. Now, ghosts attack by 2 means. Any creature within 6 inches of one is subject to attack by a magic jar spell from a ghost. Now, 6 inches translated to a tabletop current addition would be by, is it like 60 feet? If I'm going with the conversions that I'm looking at here that I remember, 1 inch equals 10 feet. That seems a little bit big, but I believe it was 1 inch equals 10 feet in dungeons, 1 inch equals 10 yards if you were outdoors, I believe it is. Or something like that. I don't really use inches, so I don't really know. I've always just used feet. That does kind of make sense, but that seems a little far. 60 feet. I wouldn't do that. Back to the spell. Back to the class here. Unless the ghost becomes semi-material to attack by other means, it can otherwise only be combated by another in the ethereal plane, in which case the ghost has an armor class of 8. It only lists 0 and an 8. Or by telepathic means. If the ghost fails to magic jar its chosen victim, it will then semi-materialize in order to attack by touch, in which case the ghost armor class becomes 0. Semi-materialized ghosts can only be struck by silver, doing 50% the normal damage, or magical weapons. If they strike an opponent, it ages them 10 to 40 years. Note that ghosts can be attacked with spells only from creatures who are in the ethereal state. Any human, including dwarfs, and halflings, killed by a ghost is dead forever. Now, what happens when a ghost uses the magic jar-like ability to possess somebody? Now, with the magic jar ability spell, when a magic user uses it, they replace the soul inside of a jar. So what happens when a ghost uses it doesn't really say. But the way it's been translated in my games and other games I've played is that while the ghost possesses you, you are in a locked state inside your body, unable to do anything or communicate, and you are able to see everything happening in real time, but you just have no longer control over your body. So there may be ways for you can communicate with other people, and that's up to the DM how they want to do it. But take it like how you see in movies with possessions and things like that. Sometimes they have the small ability to come out and override the ghost for a minute or so with some saving throws or something. But if we jump to AD in second edition, and we look at Van Richten's Guide to Ghosts on page 42. We get this little blurb. Under normal circumstances, a magic jar spell forces a victim into some sort of receptacle, aforementioned crystal, for example. Because ghosts do not employ this focus, there is no place for the victim's spirit to go. Thus, a ghost who is able to successfully employ this power instantly slays the person that is used upon. I am told that there is no more painful way to die than having one's life force ripped from one's body in this fashion. Yeah, I'm pausing after that because that's pretty dramatic. After getting possessed by a ghost, you get your soul ripped out and you're dead. Now, that's second edition. You could use that rule if you wanted. I prefer to use the rule of you're trapped inside your body, and that's what happens, and you just have to get an exorcism to get the ghost out. Now, looking at 5th edition, let's see here. The armor class is 11. Damage resistance are pretty much acid, lightning, fire, thunder, blood, and piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks. They're immune from cold, necrotic, and poison. They're immune, charmed, exhaustion, frightened, blah, 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 paralyzed. They have dark vision. Any language that they knew in real life when they were alive, they know in the dead. The ghost can see 60 feet. The ghost can move through the air. Withering touch does necrotic damage, so it has a withering touch. The ghost is in the ethereal plane. And blah, blah, blah. Horrifying visage is the same thing as what we used to have. Each undead creature within each non-undead creature within 60 feet of the ghost that can see it, so it does match up with the inches that I was thinking. Maybe it isn't. So 60 feet must succeed on a DC 13 Wisdom saving throw, or be frightened for 1 minute. If this fails by 5 or more, the target also ages 1d4 times 10 years. A frightened target can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the frightened condition on itself as a success. If the target's saving throw is successful, or the effects end, the target is immune to the ghost's horrifying visage for the next 24 hours. The aging effect can be reversed by a greater restoration spell, but only within 24 hours of occurring. So they give you the answer to reversing the spell, which in AD&D you can always do a limited wish or something like that to get it restored, and restoration would probably work as well. But possession. Now here we go on to possession, which is a little different, but we'll check it out. One humanoid that the ghost can see within 5 feet of it must succeed on a DC 13 Charisma saving throw or be possessed by the ghost. The ghost then disappears, and the target is incapacitated and loses control of his body. The ghost now controls the body, but doesn't deprive the target of awareness. The ghost can't be targeted by any attack or spell or other effect except ones that turn undead, and it retains its alignment, wisdom, blah, 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 blah. It's still immune to the same effects as before. It otherwise uses the possessed target's statistics, but doesn't gain access to the target's knowledge, class features, or proficiencies. The possession lasts until the body drops to 0 hit points. The ghost ends it as a bonus action, or the ghost is turned or forced out of the body, like a Dispel Evil Spell Evil and Good Spell. When the possession ends, the ghost reappears in the unoccupied space within 5 feet of the body. The target is immune to the ghost's possession for 24 hours after succeeding on the saving throw or after the possession ends. So we get a little more information there. So instead of the harsh reality of being dead, pretty much, or pretty much being dead or no answer at all, we get kind of an answer here in fifth edition of what happens to the body. You, like I said, you're possessed. You get to see, you're aware of everything. You just don't have any control over your body. So those are what we have for information for Ghosts for as far as AD&D up, and then comparing it to the newer edition. And I'm looking in at the Guide to Ghost on page 42. Is kind of an interesting look. I kind of forgot about that book. I'm not really a second edition AD&D player, so those books really didn't rate anything. We did play a lot of Ravenloft when we played 1E, but we always converted Ravenloft 1E Ravenloft into 1E when we were using it. So we didn't really use second edition rules. So tell me how you use Ghost in your campaign. I thought it'd be interesting just to talk a little bit about Ghost and how you can scare players. And a lot of times people only use Ghosts around Halloween, which is, I get it, you want to play like a spooky campaign, but Ghosts can come upon characters at any point, and they don't exactly have to be evil and trying to take over a person's body. You can have a ghost as part of your campaign where the ghost is maybe they have unfinished business, because that's usually what happens. It doesn't necessarily have to be evil, and maybe they want to get back. They want to go to the afterlife, so they find the players in this area, the characters in the area, excuse me, and they try to get a message to them. But since they're a ghost, it maybe frightens the players away, and they have to figure out what's going on. So the ghost could be, an NPC full of information for players, and maybe they can give them some leads to where certain things are. Where were you killed? And things like, where is this, that? Give information from the other worlds, supposedly, to the player characters to help feed the campaign. It was just an idea. Otherwise, if you're throwing ghosts against a level 1, level 2 party, you're pretty much screwed unless one of them has a magical weapon, luckily. And chances are, if you're level 1 or 2 playing AD&D, you're not having a magical weapon. You may have a +1 sword or a +1 something in the game. Generally, I don't really. It really depends on the campaign, how high of magic stuff you want to use. But again, I wouldn't throw them against first level. That's going to be a death sentence for them. Again, using it as an NPC, yeah, that's fine. But as a foe, if you just want to scare them a little bit, sure. But again, learn to run. With that said, I'm going to head out. Keep it original. Keep it old school. And I do have one question I'm going to end this podcast with, and you guys can answer it in the comments, thinking about it. Do you think that people are more scared of ghosts because of the unknown, or because of the way books and media portray them? Let me know your thoughts on that. I know it has nothing really to do with AD&D. It's just a question on ghosts. I want to hear your opinion on that. Tell me what you think. Leave it in the comments below on Spotify or on YouTube. Like, share. Don't forget to subscribe. And we'll talk next time. Tonight is our live stream. Random Rolls Chat live at 5:05 p.m. Central Time. Keep it original, keep it old school. Good night. God bless. No drama, no clickbait. All gaming on this channel. Good night, everybody.